The Birthright Israel Foundation, in association with various Jews, is proud to present Eugene Mirman. Things learned on Birthright. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eugene Mirman.
I learned that in Israel the breakfasts are very, very delicious. I learned why the hummus in Israel is so good. They get it from Trader Joe's. Masada taught me that sometimes you don't want to win the lottery, because you'll have to murder the people you love. But at least you won't be a slave. I learned that camels don't like being called lumpy horses. But they do like to be called cordless unicorns!
Things I learned on Birthright.
Israelis continue to name their little girls Moran and boys Nimrod, even though they all speak English and know that those are terrible names. Or maybe they're purposefully dooming their children to be idiots.
Things I learned on
L'chaim.
Birthright.
Israeli basketball teams are pretty good, probably because they don't let Israelis play on them.
Things I learned on Birthright.
I learned that wishes put into the Western Wall do come true, as long as they're written in ancient Aramaic, the only language God can read. All-powerful, except for in illiterate literature. I learned that Jerusalem has been conquered by Persians, Romans, Babylonians, Greeks, Crusaders. Come on, China, what are you afraid of our Krav Maga? Why won't you invade? What do you need, an Evite? Or something else from 2005? Please don't attack Israel, China. Sorry that I, on their behalf, am asking you to do that. Please don't do that.
Things I learned on Birthright.
I learned that you can't solve the Middle East crisis with Nilla wafers, but I also learned you can't not solve it with Nilla wafers. One of the things I learned was that that Sarah didn't like me.
Things I learned on Birthright.
Modern Israelis are just as into yoga as ancient Israelis were, except for ancient Israelis didn't do as much of the stretching and the positions. They mostly herded goats, and they called yoga goat herding.
Things I learned on Birthright.
I learned that there was an Armenian quarter. My laundry machine doesn't even take Canadian quarters. What am I going to do with an Armenian quarter? I learned that Egyptians used to be so mean. I'm the Pharaoh. I say, no smiles for Jews. Boo. I learned that the Dead Sea is the lowest place on earth, even though I'd always thought it was in the heart of Montel Williams. An unnecessarily specific joke about a former talk show host who I think used to not wear pants to meetings. Business 101, wear pants. I learned that just because a creepy old man is wandering around the old city in a bathrobe does not mean he's the Messiah. But doesn't hurt to ask. I learned that if you want to have a really classy evening, you get Zach Braff to host the event. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him from The Phantom Menace, if you watched it at the same time as Garden State. Zach Braff!